The pen was in his hand, heavy, silver-plated, etched with a family crest older than most countries in the room. I watched Arben Krasniqi lift it slowly, deliberately, the way a man who owns half the Balkans does everything, with control that makes silence feel like violence. The conference room smelled like leather and old money. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Tirana skyline at dusk, the city lights flickering on like embers. Around the table sat men in suits that cost more than my yearly salary. Russians, Serbians, one Greek with dead eyes. All of them waiting. And me, standing 3 feet behind Arben's chair, tablet in hand, heartbeat in my throat. I wasn't supposed to speak. Secretaries don't speak during deals like this. We pour water. We take notes. We exist like furniture. Expensive, well-placed, and utterly silent. But the contract in front of him was wrong. Not obviously. Not in a way any of these men would catch. The font was perfect. The wax seal authentic. The signatures lined up exactly where they should. Except for one clause, buried on page 17, subsection 4, paragraph 3. A transfer clause that didn't just hand over shipping routes, it transferred blood rights, family claim. The kind of legal sleight of hand that would let the Russians dissolve his entire operation from the inside out within 6 months. I'd read it twice while printing the documents an hour ago. My hands had gone numb, because I knew what this was. This wasn't a partnership. It was an execution in ink. Arben's creator, his underboss, a man named Luan, stood near the door, arms crossed, watching the room like a hawk. He'd been the one to approve the contract. He'd told me to print it, prepare it, bind it. He'd smiled when he said it. That smile was the tell. Luan had been in Arben's family for 12 years, trusted, loyal, the kind of man you'd die for, or so everyone thought. But 3 weeks ago, I'd seen him in a cafe 2 blocks from the office, with a Russian I recognized from the intelligence files I wasn't supposed to have access to. They hadn't noticed me. I'd been picking up Arben's espresso order, wearing my usual black coat, hair pulled back, forgettable. I'd watched them shake hands, watched the Russian slide an envelope across the table, watched Luan tuck it into his jacket without a word. I didn't report it. I didn't know what it meant yet, but I'd started paying attention. And now, in this room, with that pen poised over that contract, I understood exactly what it meant. Arben was about to sign away everything his blood had built, and Luan was going to walk away rich. The Russian across the table leaned forward slightly. His name was Dmitry Volkov, silver-haired, calm, dangerous in the way glaciers are dangerous, slow, inevitable, crushing. "We've waited long enough, Krasniqi," Dmitry said, his accent thick but his English sharp. "Your reputation is built on decisiveness. Let's not waste time on ceremony." Arben's jaw tightened. He didn't like being rushed, but he also didn't show weakness. Not in rooms like this. Not in front of men who'd kill him the second they smelled blood. He clicked the pen open. My throat closed. I had maybe 3 seconds. 3 seconds to decide if I was going to stay silent and keep my job, keep my life, or open my mouth and destroy everything. The smart move was silence. And the safe move was silence. But I thought about the way Arben had looked at me 2 months ago, when I'd worked 16 hours straight to fix a contract error that would have cost him millions. He'd paused in the doorway of my office at midnight, loosening his tie. "You eat today?" he'd asked. I'd blinked, startled. "Sir? Food. You eat?" No, not yet." He'd nodded once, disappeared, then returned 5 minutes later with a container of pasta from the executive kitchen. Set it on my desk without a word, then left. It was the smallest thing, but it was the first time in 3 years anyone in this building had seen me as human, The pen touched the paper. Don't sign that contract. My voice cut through the room like a blade. Every head turned. Arben's hand stopped. The pen hovered. Ink pooled at the tip. 1 millimeter from the signature line. Silence crushed the air. Luan stepped forward from the door, his face a mask of confusion. Excuse me? But Arben didn't look at him. He looked at me. His eyes were dark, unreadable, the kind of eyes that had seen men tortured, cities burned, empires built on bones and besa, the sacred promise that bound his entire world together. Say that again, he said quietly. Not a request, a command. I swallowed. My hands were shaking so badly I had to grip the tablet to keep it steady. Don't sign that contract, Mr. Krasniqi. Dmitri laughed. A short, sharp bark. Is this a joke? Who the hell is she? The Greek muttered. She's nobody, Luan said quickly, stepping closer. His hand moved toward his jacket. She's new. She doesn't understand protocol. I'll remove her. Luan. Arben's voice didn't rise, and it didn't need to. Stay where you are. Luan froze. Arben set the pen down. Then he pushed his chair back, stood, and turned to face me fully. 6'3", broad-shouldered, a scar along his jawline from a knife fight in Pristina when he was 19. He wore a black suit like armor, and he was looking at me like I'd just set a bomb on the table. Why? He said. Not why did you speak? Why shouldn't I sign? This was my only chance. I held up the tablet. My voice was steadier than I felt. Page 17, subsection 4, paragraph 3. Arben didn't move, but his Kretar, his second in command, an older man named Besnik, stepped forward and took the tablet from my hands. He scanned it. His face went white. Arben, Besnik said slowly. She's right. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Dimitri's smile vanished. Arben took the tablet, read the clause himself. His expression didn't change, but the air around him did. It was like watching a storm form in real time, silent, absolute, lethal. He looked up at Dmitri. This clause, Arben said softly, transfers clan inheritance rights to the secondary party upon breach of operational conduct. It's standard legal protection, Dmitri said smoothly, in case of nothing. Arben's voice was ice. This clause makes you my family's cry if I fail a single delivery, which means you control who replaces me, which means you own my bloodline. Dmitri said nothing. Arben turned to Luan. Who wrote this contract? Luan's throat worked. Our legal team, Arben. I oversaw it personally. And you read this clause? Yes, but I thought. You thought I wouldn't notice? The room held its breath. Luan's hand twitched toward his jacket again. Arben's Kretar moved faster. Besnik had a gun out and pressed to Luan's temple before anyone could blink. Don't, Besnik said quietly. Luan raised his hand slowly. Arben, brother, this is a misunderstanding. How much did they pay you? Luan's face cracked. Just a little. Just enough. How much? Arben repeated. 2 million, Luan whispered. Offshore, untraceable. Dmitri stood. Krasniqi, let's not be rash. Sit down. Dmitri sat. Arben looked at me. How did you know? My mouth was dry. I saw him. 3 weeks ago, meeting Volkov at a cafe. I didn't know what it meant then. But when I read the contract this afternoon, You connected it. I nodded. And you said nothing until now. I wasn't sure. I didn't have proof. And I didn't want to accuse. You risked your life, Arben said. To save mine. I didn't know what to say to that. So I said nothing. Arben turned back to Luan. You broke Besa. Those 3 words landed like a death sentence. In Albanian culture, Besa wasn't just a code. It was sacred. A promise that bound blood, honor, and loyalty into something unbreakable. Breaking it was worse than death. It was erasure. Arben, please. Luan started. You're dead, Arben said simply. You just don't know it yet. He nodded to Besnik. 2 other men stepped in from the hallway. They took Luan by the arms. He didn't fight. He knew better. As they dragged him toward the door, Luan looked at me. His eyes were full of hate. You stupid bitch, he hissed. You have no idea what you just did. Then he was gone. The door closed. Arben turned to Dmitri. Get out. Dmitri stood slowly, smoothing his jacket. This is a significant misunderstanding, Krasniqi. I had no knowledge. You had every knowledge, and now you have 10 seconds to leave this building before I forget we're in a civilized country. Dmitri's jaw tightened. But he left. The Russians followed. The room emptied, until it was just me, Arben, and Besnik. Arben stood at the window, looking out over Tirana. The city glittered below like a predator's eyes. What's your name? He asked. Elira. Elira. He tested it, rolled it around like wine. How long have you worked for me? 3 years. And in 3 years, no one's ever asked your name. It wasn't a question. No, sir. He turned, his eyes locked onto mine. You just made yourself the most dangerous woman in this building. My stomach dropped. Sir, Luan had allies. Friends. People who'll want revenge. People who'll see you as the reason their plan failed. He stepped closer. You're a target now. I understand. Do you? I lifted my chin. Yes. He studied me. Then slowly he smiled. It was a rare thing. Dangerous. Beautiful. You're brave, he said. Or stupid. I haven't decided which. Can't it be both? The smile widened. Just a fraction. Besnik, Arben said, not looking away from me. From now on, Elira stays within sight. My office, my meetings, everywhere. Besnik raised an eyebrow. You want her that close? She saved my life. That earns proximity. It also earns enemies. Then we'll deal with them. Arben stepped closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne, something dark and smoky, cedar and gunpowder. You could have stayed quiet, he said softly. You would have been safe. You would have been dead. And that mattered to you. It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. Yes. His eyes searched mine, looking for something. Truth. Maybe. Or fear. Why? I hesitated. Then quietly. Because you're the only one who ever treated me like I exist. Something flickered across his face, too fast to name. He reached out slowly and took the tablet from my hands. His fingers brushed mine. The touch was brief. Electric. Go home, he said. Pack a bag. Besnik will drive you. What? Why? You're not safe at your apartment. You'll stay at one of my properties until this is handled. Mr. Krasniqi, I can't just... You can. You will. His tone left no room for argument. You're under my protection now, Elira. That means you do what I say. Understood? I swallowed. Nodded. Good. He turned back to the window. Dismissed. I left the room on shaking legs. Besnik waited in the hallway. That, he said quietly, was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen. Everyone keeps saying that. He smiled grimly. Come on. Let's get you out of here before the wrong people start asking questions. The apartment Besnik drove me to wasn't an apartment. It was a penthouse. 23rd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. Marble floors. Furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. This is where he wants me to stay? I asked, stunned. One of his properties, Besnik said. He owns 12 in the city. This one's secure. Cameras, guards. No one gets in without clearance. I don't need. You do. Besnik's face was serious. Luan's execution will happen tonight. But his people won't go quietly. They'll look for revenge. And you're the easiest target. How long do I have to stay here? As long as Arben says. He handed me a phone. Yours is compromised. Use this. It's encrypted. Arben's number is programmed. You need anything, you call him directly. Directly? He insisted. Besnik left. The door locked behind him with a heavy click. I stood in the center of the massive living room, holding the phone, feeling like I'd just stepped into someone else's life. Someone important. Someone dangerous. Someone Arben Krasniqi wanted to protect. I looked at the phone. His number was there, listed simply as AK. I didn't call, but I didn't delete it either. I walked to the window and looked out over the city. Somewhere out there, Luan was dying. Because of me. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt scared. But all I felt was the ghost of Arben's fingers brushing mine, and the weight of his eyes when he'd said, "You're under my protection now." I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Besnik picked me up at 7. Where are we going? I asked. Where do you think? The office? Arben wants you close. Close as in his office. With him. I stared. I'm his secretary. I have my own. Not anymore. We drove in silence. When we arrived at the building, I noticed the differences immediately. More guards, more cameras, more tension. People looked at me differently, whispered. One woman I'd worked with for 2 years turned her back when I walked past. Besnik noticed. You're the woman who got Luan killed, and they're scared of you now. I didn't kill him. You might as well have. We took the private elevator to the top floor. Arben's office. The doors opened. He was standing at his desk, phone to his ear, speaking rapid Albanian. He saw me, held up one finger. Finished the call. Hung up. Good, he said. You're here. Besnik said you wanted me? In my office. Yes. He gestured to a desk near the window. That's yours now. It was sleek, modern, positioned so I could see the entire room, and so he could see me. Sir, I don't understand. You're my personal assistant now, effective immediately. But You saved my life, Elira. That makes you valuable. It also makes you vulnerable. He sat on the edge of his desk, arms crossed. I keep valuable things close, where I can protect them. I'm not a thing. His eyes glinted. No, you're not. Silence stretched between us. What happened to Luan? I asked quietly. He's gone. Gone as in, gone. I didn't ask for details. I didn't want them. Arben stood. You'll work directly with me from now on. All contracts, all meetings, all deals. You read everything before I sign it. You trust me that much? You proved you're trustworthy. That's rare. He stepped closer. Close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I don't trust easily, Elira. But when I do, I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. Aren't you? My breath caught. His gaze dropped. To my mouth. Just for a second. Then back up. Get to work, he said quietly, and walked away. I exhaled shakily, sat at my new desk, opened my new computer, and realized I'd just stepped into a world I couldn't walk away from. The first week was brutal. Each meetings back to back. Contracts in 3 languages. Deals that involved shipping routes, political bribes, and transactions that would make most governments collapse. I read everything. Caught 2 more errors. Both potentially catastrophic. Arben noticed. You have a gift, he said one evening, late when we were alone in the office. For reading contracts? for seeing what others miss. I looked up from my laptop. Or maybe everyone else just isn't paying attention. Maybe. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed me one. But I think it's more than that. I took the glass, sipped. It burned, smooth, expensive. Why did you really keep me close? I asked. He leaned against the desk. I told you. Protection. That's not all. His eyes darkened. No, it's not. Then what? He was quiet for a long moment. And then, because you're the first person in 10 years who's done something for me without wanting something in return. I blinked. You didn't ask for money, didn't ask for a promotion, didn't try to leverage what you did. He swirled his whiskey. You just warned me, because it was the right thing to do. So that's rare. In my world, everything has a price. Everyone has an agenda. He looked at me. But you don't. You don't know that. Don't I? I held his gaze. The air between us felt too thick, too warm. I should go, I said. Stay. One word. But it landed like a command, like a plea. I stayed. We drank in silence, and when I finally left 2 hours later, his eyes followed me all the way to the elevator. 3 weeks passed. The threats didn't materialize. Luan's allies either went quiet or disappeared. Arben's world stabilized, but the tension between us didn't. It grew. Every glance, every accidental touch, every late night alone in his office, it was building towards something dangerous, something inevitable. And then, one night, it broke. We were working late. Again. Reviewing a contract for a shipping merger with a Turkish syndicate. I was halfway through page 32 when I saw it. A clause that linked the merger to a secondary agreement, one that gave the Turks access to Arben's supply lines in Greece. This is a trap, I said. Arben looked up. Show me. I stood, walked around the desk, leaned over his shoulder, pointed. Here. And here. It's a backdoor clause. If you sign this, they can reroute your shipments without approval. You'd lose half your Mediterranean control in 6 months. He read it, swore softly in Albanian. Then he turned his head and realized how close I was. Our faces were inches apart. I could feel his breath. Warm, steady. You keep saving me, he said quietly. Someone has to. His eyes dropped to my mouth. Elira. It was a warning. Or a question. I didn't move. Neither did he. This is a bad idea, I whispered. I know. You're my boss. I know. People will talk. Let them. His hand came up, slowly, cupped the side of my face. His thumb brushed my cheek. Tell me to stop, he said. I didn't. He kissed me, soft at first, testing, then deeper, hungry. I gasped against his mouth, and his hand slid into my hair, tilting my head back, taking more. The kiss was fire, dangerous, consuming. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. Elira, he said, voice rough. This changes everything. I know. You'll be a target. More than before. I know. And I won't be able to let you go. I looked up at him. At this man who ruled a criminal empire with an iron fist, who'd killed without hesitation, who'd protected me without question. Then don't, I whispered. His eyes flared. And then he was kissing me again, lifting me onto the desk, his hands on my waist, my hips, pulling me closer. I wrapped my legs around him, and he groaned against my mouth. You're mine now, he said between kisses. Say it. I'm yours. Say it again. I'm yours, Arben. He pulled back just enough to look at me. His eyes were molten. Good. After that night, everything changed. I moved into his penthouse. Not the one Besnik had taken me to. Arben's. The one he actually lived in. It was smaller. More personal. His clothes in the closet, his coffee in the kitchen, his life, and now mine. We didn't hide it. The entire organization knew within days. Some people whispered, some glared, but no one challenged it, because Arben Krasniqi had claimed me, and in his world, that was law. But protection doesn't mean safety. I learned that the hard way. It happened 5 weeks after the contract incident. I was leaving the office building, alone. Arben was in a meeting. Besnik was with him. I'd just gone down to the car to grab files I'd forgotten. Stupid. Careless. I should have waited. But I didn't. I was halfway across the parking garage when I heard the footsteps. I turned. 3 men. I didn't recognize them, but I recognized the look in their eyes. Predatory. Calculated. Paid. Elira Hoxha, one of them said. You're coming with us. I backed up. I don't think so. Not a request. One of them pulled a gun. My heart slammed into my throat. Walk, he said, or we drag you. I calculated my options. Run, they'd shoot. Scream, they'd shoot. Comply. Maybe I'd live long enough for Arben to find me. I walked. They led me to a van parked in the corner, shoved me inside, zip-tied my wrists. The doors slammed shut, and we drove. I don't know how long. 20 minutes, maybe 30. When the van stopped, they dragged me out. We were in a warehouse. Empty. Cold. They threw me into a chair. One of them made a phone call. We have her, he said in Albanian. A pause. Understood. He hung up. Looked at me. Your boyfriend's going to pay a lot of money for you. He'll kill you, I said. The man smiled. Maybe, but we'll be rich first. They were wrong. Arben didn't pay. He came. It took 4 hours. 4 hours of silence, 4 hours of waiting, 4 hours of knowing I might die. And then the warehouse doors exploded open. Gunfire erupted. I hit the floor, chair and all, screaming, covering my head. The noise was deafening. Then, suddenly, silence. Footsteps. Fast. Heavy. Elira. Arben. I looked up. He was there. Gun still in his hand. Blood on his shirt. Not his. He dropped to his knees in front of me, cutting the zip ties with a knife. Are you hurt? He demanded. No, I'm... He pulled me into his arms, held me so tight I couldn't breathe. You're okay, he said, more to himself than to me. You're okay. Arben, I thought I lost you. His voice cracked. Just a little. Just enough. I wrapped my arms around him. I'm here. I'm okay. He pulled back, cupped my face, searched my eyes, then kissed me. Hard. Desperate. You don't leave my sight again, he said. Ever. Okay. I mean it, Elira. I know. Behind him, Besnik and 4 other men were dragging bodies toward the door. I didn't look. Arben stood, pulling me with him. Let's go home. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in Arben's bed staring at the ceiling. He was beside me, one arm draped across my waist. You killed them, I said quietly. Yes. All of them. Yes. I turned to look at him. His face was calm, unbothered. Does it bother you? I asked. Killing people who tried to take you from me? He met my eyes. No. Arben, they knew what they were doing, Elira. They knew who I am. They knew what would happen. His hand tightened on my waist. I don't regret it. And I'd do it again. I believed him. This is your world, I said softly. Yes. And I'm part of it now. Yes. I can't go back. No. I exhaled. Are you afraid? He asked. I thought about it. No. You should be. Maybe. I turned fully toward him, but I'm not. His eyes softened, just a little. You're too brave for your own good. Or too stupid. He smiled. Both. I kissed him. Slow. Deep. When I pulled back, his hand was in my hair again. "I love you," he said. I froze. "You don't have to say it back," he continued. "I just need you to know." "Arben, I've never said that to anyone, not once, not in 38 years. His thumb traced my jaw. "But I'm saying it to you." Tears stung my eyes. "I love you too," I whispered. He exhaled, like he'd been holding his breath. "Good." He kissed me again, and this time we didn't stop. 3 months later, I stood beside him at a signing ceremony. A real one. Legitimate business. A partnership with a European logistics company. Arben was expanding, going legal, slowly, carefully, but moving forward. And I was with him every step, reading every contract, catching every trap, protecting him the way he protected me. When the deal was signed, Arben turned to me. "We make a good team," he said. "We do. Think you can handle this life?" I smiled. "I already am." He kissed me, right there, in front of everyone, and I didn't care who saw, because I was his, and he was mine. And in this dangerous, beautiful, impossible world, that was enough. But peace doesn't last forever. Not in Arben's world. 6 months after the kidnapping, I was back in his office. Late. Reviewing contracts for a new deal. Arben was out. Meeting with a supplier. Besnik was with him. I was alone. And that's when I saw it. An email. Sent to Arben's encrypted account. The subject line, "Unfinished business." I opened it. It was a photo. Of me. Taken yesterday. Outside the penthouse. Below the photo, one line. "She took everything from us. Now we take her from you." My blood turned to ice. I grabbed my phone, called Arben. No answer. Called Besnik. No answer. I stood, grabbed my bag, headed for the door. And froze. A man was standing in the doorway. I didn't recognize him, but I recognized the gun in his hand. "Hello, Elira," he said. "Who are you?" "Luan's brother." My stomach dropped. "He told me about you," the man continued. "The secretary who ruined everything, the woman who got him killed. He betrayed Arben. He was my family. He raised the gun. And now you pay." I didn't have time to scream. The shot rang out. Pain exploded in my side. I hit the floor. The world blurred. Footsteps, shouting, gunfire. Then, silence. "Elira," Arben's voice, desperate, broken. "Stay with me, stay with me." I tried to answer, but the darkness swallowed me whole. I woke up 3 days later. Hospital. White walls. Beeping machines. And Arben. Asleep in the chair beside my bed. His hand wrapped around mine. I squeezed. His eyes flew open. "Elira." "Hi," I whispered. He exhaled, a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. "You scared the hell out of me." "Sorry. Don't apologize. Just don't do it again." "I'll try." He leaned forward, kissed my forehead. "The man who shot you is dead," he said quietly. "Good. So is everyone connected to Luan, every ally, every friend, every distant cousin." His eyes were hard. I erased them all. "Arben, I won't let anyone hurt you again. Ever." He cupped my face. "You're my family now, Elira. And I protect my family." Tears slid down my cheeks. "I know." He kissed me. Soft, gentle, careful. "When you're healed," he said, "we're leaving Tirana. Just for a while. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere safe." "Where?" "Wherever you want." I smiled. "Anywhere with you." He smiled back. And in that moment, despite the pain, despite the fear, despite everything, I was home. 2 years later, I stood at the altar. Arben beside me, dressed in black, looking at me like I was the only thing in the world that mattered. The priest spoke in Albanian. I didn't understand all of it, but I understood the important part. "Do you take this man?" "I do." Arben smiled. Do you take this woman? I do. He kissed me before the priest finished. The room erupted in applause, and when we walked out, hand in hand, into the sunlight, I realized something. I wasn't the secretary anymore. I wasn't the woman who'd saved the Mafia King. I was Elira Krasniqi, wife, partner, protector. And I'd do it all again. Every dangerous, beautiful, impossible moment. Because love, I'd learned, wasn't just about safety. It was about finding someone worth the risk. And Arben Krasniqi? He was worth every single one.